Hi 5th graders, today's topics are multiplying decimals, converting fractions, and measurement and rounding. So let's get started with multiplying decimals first. And it may seem like it's a review from last week's and the weeks before, but it's actually kind of different because as you can see when you look through the 10 questions, they're all multiplied by 1,000, 100, or by 10. And that's because there's a trick to solving these questions. So number 4 gives us 71.9 times 100, and the trick is to look at the second number and see how many zeros there are, and because that's going to be how many times you move your decimal point to the right. And as we can see here, 100 has 2 zeros, so we're going to move the decimal point right here, 79, to the right 2 times. So 1, 2, and the decimal ends up behind the 9 and 0, and placing the 0 as basically a place value, I guess you can say. We get 7,190 as our final answer. Now that we know this new trick, let's apply it to number 6. Number 6 gives us 28.6 times 1,000. And as we can see, 1,000 has 3 zeros, so we're going to end up moving the decimal point in 28.6 to the right 3 times, so which is 1, 2, 3. And we place in zeros for these blank spaces, and in the end we're going to get 28,600. And you can always check your work by doing it the long way, by multiplying it all out. But this is an easier way to solve these questions. Now let's move on to converting fractions. Number 5 gives us 110 divided by 25. Over 25. And basically to convert fractions, I'm pretty sure they want us to turn these improper fractions into a mixed number. So we're going to divide. And we know that the denominator is always outside and the numerator is always inside. So 25 is going to be outside. Oops, that kind of looks like a square root. I don't want it to look like a square root. I'm going to put 110 inside. And as we know, 25 times 2 is 25 can go into 11, so we're going to move on to 110. And we know that 25 times 2 is 50, and we could go much higher, so let's shoot for like 4. 25 times 4 equals 100. Seems better. Let's try one more just in case. 25 times 5 equals 125, which is way over 110, so we're going to stick with 4. And we get 4 here, and we're going to subtract 100 from 110 to get left with 10. And we're going to turn this, we could make it into a decimal, but we're going to turn it into a mixed number. So we're going to turn this into a remainder. So always the remaining number is going to be put on top of the denominator. So we're going to get, our whole number is 4, and our numerator will be 10, and our denominator will be 25. And you may think that this is your final answer, but you need to remember to simplify. And we know that both 10 and 25 can be divided by 5, so we're going to take out 5 from both of them to get 2 and 5. So we get a final answer of 2 over 5. And we know that because 2 cannot go into 5, and there are no other common multipliers. So our final answer will be 4 and 2/5 for number 5. So for converting fractions, just remember to turn it into a mixed number and remember to simplify. Now we're going to do measurements. We're going to do number 5 together, which gives us 46 yards, and we have to turn it to feet. Now don't get fooled by this, because this is just saying 5,280 feet equals 1 mile, not that 5,280 feet equals 1 yard. That's because when we do number 5, we have to turn yards to feet, and we know the 1 yard equals 3 feet. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do is 46 yards into feet. And the only way to do that is by multiplying by 3, right? So we're gonna multiply by 3, and in the end, 46 times 3 We bring the 8 and we bring the 1 up. 12 plus 1 is 138. 13, I'm sorry. And then when you put it together, you get 128. So 46 yards will give us 138 feet. Let's check my answer just in case. Yep. Just remember, just for these, you need to memorize all the basic measurements. Now let's move on to rounding. Number 2 gave us 183,335 and it underlined 8. So that's what we are going to have to round to. So number 2 gave us 100 and you know, do you guys remember the from the other lessons I told you guys about that if it's greater than 5 then we can round up, but if it's less than if it's greater than or equal to 5 then you can round up, but if it's less than 5 then you have to round down, which means that it just stays the same. And as we can see here, the number on the right, which is 3, is less than 5, so we're gonna have to round down, which means that all these numbers behind 8 turns into zeros, and the 8 just stays as an 8. So it's just gonna turn into 180,000. And that's it. So when you're rounding, just remember that rule that if it's greater than or equal to 5, then you round up. If it's less than 5, then you have to round down, which is basically just turning the numbers to the right, all zeros, and making sure that that underlined number just stays as that same number. And that's it for today. I hope this video helped you guys a bit.